mean, because think about it, right? Like, you have the big major holidays where you're going to eat ham or turkey is Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. Those holidays, for all intents and purposes, are back to back to back. Okay? You've got Thanksgiving, okay? And then you're going to have leftover turkey for at least 2 weeks, week and a half, 2 weeks after that. Then you're going to eat normal food until Christmas. You're going to have turkey or ham. And then New Year's, the same damn thing. So for me, yeah, in my family, New Year's for us is there's always some type of green because of that whole, if you have greens, you'll get money in the new year, which is bullshit. But we'll have some type of black eyed peas. But I mean, a lot of it is the same shit you had at Christmas and Thanksgiving. So I don't want to eat. Um, I don't want to eat the same thing I've been eating for basically 3 months out the year for 27 years. So when I November, December, January, because you're going to be eating a lot of that stuff. Then comes Easter, and here's the thing: a lot of the shit that you eat at New Year's, you're going to eat at Easter. So it's just I can't deal with it. I like basically a new family tradition for my family is one of those holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, or New Year's, someone cooks. The other two holidays, we go out to eat. And it's so much easier. It's so much better. Cause I mean turkey is good the first day after you cook it. Even the second day is still pretty good. That third day, that fourth day, you're like, man, they're like a guest who won't leave your house. You're like, man, I'm tired of seeing your ass around my house. I mean, isn't it time for you to go home? Shit. Yeah, I can't even do that at this point. I'm just like after about 3 days, like the first like really, I don't even really like turkey for Thanksgiving, but I do like making that turkey sandwich the day after, where you slice it thin, and you put it on some toasted bread with a little bit of dressing, some cranberry sauce, some mayo. Um, I mean that's just fucking delicious. But I mean like after that, like the second day, okay, turkey soup, all right, or leftover turkey that you had from the day of Thanksgiving. But then third day, it's just like I'm tired of you. Go home, go home, go home, go home. Yeah, that one who just won't go home. That's basically how I treat Thanksgiving turkey. Now ham, ham is a little bit more. You can do a lot. You can do a lot of stuff with ham. Um, you can do a lot of stuff with ham at Thanksgiving. You can I mean you can do a lot of stuff with leftover ham. You can slice it real thin and treat it like uh, deli meat that you made yourself. You can chop it up and make chopped ham salad. Um, you could freeze it and use it at other times of the year for other things. You can put it in with some you can put it with some greens and make some damn good greens. I mean, ham is very versatile, but turkey, ah, no. Especially when you got, I mean, I guarantee you, 7 out of 10 people's turkey that they make is dry and tasteless. And no, to me, it's not tasteless. It's just it doesn't have much flavor at all. Is what I'm saying. Like I'm not really impressed with most people's turkey. The only time I've had turkey that made me say, "Wow, this is some damn good turkey," is uh, I went to this guy's house, and what he did was he dry brined his turkey, um, and he spatchcocked it. So he took out the backbone and the wishbone and he split it in half, and then he dry brined it for like 48 hours, and then he roasted it. It was juicy because dry brining draws moisture to the surface of the meat, but then the meat is gonna pull back in that moisture. But you have salt and other seasonings on the surface, so it's pulled into the bird, into the meat. So you're basically seasoning the meat from the inside out, and that was pretty damn good. But aside from that, I never ever, as long as I live, want to eat. I've had good turkey, so I don't want to eat bad turkey. But like I said, 70% of the people whose turkey I've had is just blah. So you have to drown it in gravy. Now here's the thing. I'll give you credit. If you can make a damn good gravy, the turkey will be okay, because a good gravy can cover a myriad of sins for Thanksgiving. But that's neither here. Yeah, yeah. Like, even if you mess up, a good gravy can fix a lot of things. So here are the so we kind of went off on a tangent, but here are the topics that we have on tonight's podcast. We have 5 topics. First, we'll go over the Game Award nominees per category. Second, we will go over the James Bond news that IO Interactive is going to be making. The Hitman devs are apparently going to be making a James Bond game. Third, we will cover the Animaniacs reboot. I binged all 13 episodes, and I got some shit to say about it. I'm not gonna do spoilers, but I got some thoughts. Fourth, we will cover new games we're looking forward to coming out this holiday season. And fifth, we shall nominate our Asshole Publisher of the Year. Now, we're not going to choose an Asshole Publisher of the Year. These are just the nominees, okay? We'll compile it. Yeah, kind of like the Game Awards, but we're going category by category, podcast by podcast. This podcast, we're doing publisher. Next Wednesday of next week, we will do, which is the day before Thanksgiving, we will do game developer. And then after that, we will do the asshole game that Saturday. And then the week after that, that Wednesday, we'll do the conglomerate. So the loose affiliation, they make games, but they also make other shit too. And then, the podcast after that, we'll pair them all together and then name our Asshole of the Year. It's going to be tough. There's a lot of contenders. But let's get to it. So here we go. The Game Awards. So the Game Awards have become a yearly thing where that time of year when your toe gets infected, whatever. So basically, the game of the year. Well, that used to happen to me when I was in school because I wore shoes that didn't really breathe. So every year at the same time, my toe would get infected. It was not a fun experience. Yeah, just like the Game Awards. Yeah, that's why I use that example. So anyway, we're gonna start with the Game of the Year first because it's up there first. The Game of the Year nominees are Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII R, which is the remake, Ghosts of Tsushima, Hades, Animal Crossing: New Horizon, and The Last of Us Part 2. So, how do you feel about these nominees? Is there anything that doesn't belong to be that shouldn't be up there? Doesn't belong up there? All right. I think everything up here is pretty good except for Final Fantasy VII Remake and The Last of Us Part 2. Not because not because I don't like the game or it's not a good game. It's just the game didn't do anything really new, and it's basically a movie that you play. And I don't think that I don't think we should be rewarding games that don't really have gameplay, or the gameplay is subpar compared to the story. Because apparently the story is just your standard, you know, zombie apocalypse bullshit. So I mean, whatever. Yeah. But anyway, everything else up there, even though I may or may not like the game, I could see it being up there. Hades, I could see it being up there. Ghost of Tsushima, I played that game. That's actually pretty good. Um, Doom Eternal, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Doom Eternal, but I could see why it would be up there. And Animal Crossing, like I said, I don't really like most of the modern Animal Crossings, but I could see why it's up there. Like I said, the last Animal Crossing I really enjoyed was the one on the GameCube. So, and that technically was the first one that American audiences got because the one before that was the one on the N64 that never was localized. So technically, the only Animal Crossing I like is the first one. Next, best game direction. Final Fantasy 7 Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, and The Last of Us Part 2. Once again, Final Fantasy 7R and The Last of Us Part 2, what the fuck are they doing up there? That's my... There's a recurring theme up here of uh, mildew and decay. But like I said, Ghost of Tsushima, pretty good game. Ghost of Tsushima is basically kind of like the Assassin's Creed we wish we had, that Ubisoft just won't give us, which is one set in Japan. Hades, like I said, I mean, Supergiant Games has made some pretty good games. And all of them have been pretty good. So, and Half-Life Alyx, even though it's a VR game, it actually uses VR in a good way, which, most VR games, it's like the gimmick is utilized poorly, but the VR is actually utilized well. So I'll give it credit for that. Yeah, but I mean, like I said, the barrier to entry is that it has to have VR, but the VR in the game works. Like it's not like those games that like, remember how Nintendo with the DS, there were some games that they added dual touch screen support to, and it made the game worse. Like, and a lot of games are like that, where they're like, it's VR, but you're making it worse. Well, I'll give you an example. The port of Super Mario 64 DS game touchpad makes that game worse. Diddy Kong Racing DS touch set pad support makes that game worse. Like, them shoving touchpad support into certain games made some games worse on the DS. Uh, you know, Same thing with VR. There's some games where it's like, this didn't need to be VR. If you're going to add a gimmick, it needs to make the game play better, or you need to have a unique gameplay hook that can only be served by it being having that gimmick. Half-Life Alyx does that, so I give them credit for it. I'm not into it because I don't want to wear shit on my face, but from people that I know who don't have those issues and can play Half-Life Alyx, they say it's a good game. So I give kudos. I'm not going to hate on something because I don't like the gimmick. If it works, I'm going to give it credit. It worked. I give it credit. Well, it works. It serves gameplay. It's fun from the people I know who played it. So I got kudos to it. Next, next we have best narrative. 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. Um, I don't know. I've never heard of this damn game, so I don't know. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yeah, yeah. Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, The Last of Us Part 2. Like I said, everything else deserves to be up here except for two games. And we already know what those games are. Yeah. Well, Final Fantasy VII R isn't a narrative because it's basically the same fucking story they had in the original game, except they make changes because they want to, Kingdom Hearts that shit up. That's neither here nor there. Best art direction. Uh, Once again, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Ori and the Will-O-Wisps, and The Last of Us Part 2. Um, Everything else is up. Everything, the three games up here, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and Ori and the Will-O-Wisps deserve to be up there. Final Fantasy VII Remake, fuck that game, and Last of Us Part 2, also fuck that game. Best score and music. Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Hades, Ori and the Will-O-Wisp, and The Last of Us Part 2. I, um, because they're popular. Yeah. Best audio Best audio design: Doom Eternal, Half-Life Alyx, Ghost of Tsushima, RE3 remake, and The Last of Us Part 2. I mean, the RE3 remake, that game, from what I heard, that game is a little too short. But I mean, what content there is that is there is actually pretty good, or at least that's what I heard. I don't know. I don't know how much of that is true. I'm just telling you what. That's what I heard because I don't have that game. Because when I heard they were remaking RE3, I was like, I don't really feel comfortable with a remake of that game. I'm not a huge RE3 fan anyway. I like Resident Evil 2. My favorite is RE4. RE3, I could take it or leave it. To be honest with you, I could take it or leave it. I'm not enthralled with RE3. Best performance. Ashley Johnson as Ellie, Last of Us Part 2. Laura Bailey as Abby, The Last of Us Part 2. Daisuke Tsuji as Jin Sakai, Ghost of Tsushima. Logan Cunningham as Hades. Hades. And Najee Jeter as Miles Morales. Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. To be Well, here's the thing. Because Last of Us Part 2 is basically a movie that you play, it makes sense that it would be here. This is the place to put that type of shit. The thing is that I just don't give a fuck about that game, but I'm not going to hate on it because that's basically what it is. It's a movie game. Um, no, this is the look, best performance. This is the place for that. Um, do I give a do I give a shit about the game? No, but if your game is basically like, because people who like Last of Us Part 1 and 2, they're like, it's like I'm playing a movie. It's a movie game. It is basically the next generation of those CD based games we had back in the day, except it's actually good, comparatively speaking. So, you know, if it's like if you want to have acting that's like you're in a movie, this is the time to give a fuck about that type of shit. So this actually works out well for them. Um, I'm not enthralled with it, but that's just the way it is. I don't really care either way because I don't really give a shit about uh, acting in video games. That's like kind of my weakness. I just don't care about acting in video games. So, uh, like I'm not. Oh man, that character acted really well. Mostly because like I don't judge a video game by a character's expressions. If the gameplay's good, then I'm down with it. If the gameplay sucks, like I don't care how much I'm interested in a character. If the gameplay's trash, I'm just not into it. How's it going, Kenoshi? Yeah, we've gone through most of the big categories. Now we're on games for impact, which are AKA games that you probably have not heard of. Like if you made a game that did something kind of cool, like someone made a game based on their disabled daughter or some shit, and it made a lot of money, and they needed the money to pay for their kids like health insurance or some shit or surgery. I'm like, oh, that's a game for impact. That's pretty cool. Axiom Verge was made because the guy wanted to make a Metroid game, but whatever. It had nothing to do with impact or anything. Okay. So anyway, games for impact. If Found from Dreamville, Kentucky Route Zero TV edition. Actually, that's a pretty good game. Spirit Fair. That's the game where you basically usher people into the afterlife. That's interesting. Tell me why. Tell me what that game is because I haven't fucking heard of it. And Through the Darkest Times. I've heard of that game. I heard it's pretty good. Um, well, I mean, the only games I haven't heard of in this round is If Found and Tell Me Why. The other three I've heard of. So, yeah, tell me what this game is because I've never heard of it. So you can tell me right there. Start telling me some shit, please. Um, yeah, we're talking about the nominees, and we just went past games for impact. We're on the best ongoing game. So these are like games as a service. Uh, not really, because sports games especially EA games have a year shelf life, and then they move on to the next shit. We have Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Call of Duty Warzone, Fortnite, and No Man's Sky. Um, Here's what I'm going to say about No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is still not what they initially pitched it to be when they were, showing it off when it first released. But No Man's Sky compared to what it was when it first came out is a is like exponentially better than it was. I still don't like the game, but it's exponentially better than what it was when it first came out. I will give Hello Games that much credit. They really did work on that game and make it better. I don't like it, but they did. Yeah, yeah. So, um, Keeping it moving, keeping it moving. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like here's where I'm gonna say Hello Games. Everyone shit on Hello Games, and it was apt because I mean they basically sold people something that turned out to be something else. But here's the thing: they made it as close to what they originally promised it to be as they could. Now look at a company and look at a developer like Bethesda with their games. Okay, Bethesda put microtransactions into Skyrim, into Fallout 4, into Fallout 76. But check this out: the base game is still broken pieces of shit. Think about that. You're charging people microtransactions, but the base underlying foundation of your game is still broken as fuck. That's balls of steel right there. So, I mean, you know. And now we're at best indie. So we have Carrion. We've got Fall Guys, Ultimate Knockout. We've got Hades, Spelunky 2, and Spiritfarer. All of these games are great, and well, all these games are really good. Um, and all of them are equally like. I can't say which one is the best because Carrion is a good game. Fall Guys destroys friendships worse than Mario Party. Hades, really good game. Spelunky 2, also a really good game. Spiritfarer, also a really like. All these games are equally good. Uh, well, it looks like an evolution of what Mario Party could be. The mini games, if Nintendo would let whoever develops those games take a chance to do something fucking different instead of recycling the same shit over and over and over again. But that's neither here nor there. Best mobile game. Why the fuck is this here? But never mind. I'll let it go. So we have Among Us. Is that a mobile game? I thought that's on PC and on consoles. Okay. Call of Duty Mobile, Genshin Impact, Legends of Runeterra, and Pokemon Cafe Mix. I don't give a fuck about any of these, so all right. Best community support, we have Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, Fortnite, No Man's Sky, and Valorant. Uh, Now I'm gonna give it to No Man's Sky because we just said earlier, despite all the hate that was thrown on them, Hello Games put on their big boy pants and made that game exponentially better than it was when it first came out. That is, yeah, you know, they were like, look, we lied to you guys, but we're gonna try our damnedest to make those lies the truth. You know, they did their damnedest. No, most companies are like Bethesda. They're like, we'll take it so far, and then we're gonna charge you out the ass and fuck you over. So I give them credit for that, even though I don't like No Man's Sky. Like I don't like that game, but when I see what it was when it first came out to what it is now, I'm like, you guys worked on it. I'll give you credit for that. Best VR/AR game. Dreams, Half-Life Alyx, Marvel's Iron Man VR, Star Wars Squadron, and The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. Um, I'm gonna say that I already know who's gonna win this, and I don't even have to. Yeah, it's gonna be Half-Life Alyx, because that is the only game that I've seen that's in VR that actually, like, it's like this couldn't have been done without being in VR. Because I've seen people play a hacked version of Half-Life Alyx with traditional controls and not VR, and it looks like ass. but I've seen people play it in VR and it looks great. So yeah, I'm going with Half-Life Alex. Um, and then we have innovation and accessibility. So games that add features and technology and content to help games be played by and enjoyed even by a wider audience. We have Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Grounded, Hyperdot, The Last of Us Part 2. Fuck that game. Watch Dogs Legion. um, Watch Dogs Legion. I mean, I don't know. I kind of don't really care about that game. I don't know what to say. Anyone here have a game that looks like it's gonna stand out to them? Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Watch Dogs Legion, Hyperdot, The Last of Us Part 2, and Grounded. I would give it to Grounded because it's basic. Grounded is basically like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the ant portion, but that's the entire game. You know, and I will admit I have some biases. I want Obsidian to get a win for something in their lives, but I mean, I don't know. Next, we have Best Action Game. Doom Eternal, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, Neo 2, and Streets of Rage 4. I mean, I'm going to have to give it to... I'm split. It's either Hades or Doom Eternal. No, I mean, if you play Doom Eternal, that game is very like they base like shit in the first Doom 2016. You would basically kind of like be kind of like you kind of step back and do different things. In this game, like you're forced to constantly be moving and shooting things and killing things and executing things. It's yeah, you got to chainsaw your enemies. You just have to use glory. I mean, it is insane. Next, we have Best Action Adventure: Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Ghost of Tsushima, Marvel's Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Ori and the Will-O-Wisp, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and Last of Us Part 2. I mean, I would say Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah. Next, we have Best Role Playing Game: Final Fantasy VII Remake. Fuck that game. Genshin Impact, Persona 5 Royal, Wasteland 3, and Yakuza Like a Dragon. Um, you haven't even played the game. What were you gonna say, Kanoshi? Best role playing. Best role playing game. Yeah. Uh, yeah, but Persona 5 Royal is really JRPG, and I haven't seen a JRPG, like a real traditional JRPG, win that category yet. I'm thinking it's going to either be Final Fantasy VII Remake, even though that game is trash, and Wasteland 3. Personally, I hope it's Wasteland 3. Because that is like an old school style RPG, tactical RPG, and it's really good. I like Yakuza Like a Dragon. I'm like at chapter 12 right now. I've been blazing through it. Really? Why? It is an RPG. It's got turn-based combat. You level up, you gain skills and abilities. It has different gameplay systems that actually work. Unlike a lot of level 5 RPGs where they just throw way too much shit in there to where, and some of it is just useless. So, I mean, it's really good, but I wouldn't put it above Persona 5. Well, I'm surprised that my harping how awesome Yakuza Like a Dragon is got you into it. Well, it's a bit. It has you level up. You do get experience. You can. There are RPG mechanics. It's like you remember old school River City Ransom on the NES. Well, I mean, the gameplay mechanic where you would beat up enemies, get money, then you could go into stores and eat food, which would give you experience, which would basically let you level up and become more powerful. That's basically what Yakuza used to be before they just turned it straight up into a straight up turn based RPG with this one. So, I mean, it's always been an RPG. It's just more of an RPG now. Um, yeah, yeah. Best fighting game: Grand Blue Fantasy versus Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, Street Fighter 5 Champion Edition, One Punch Man, A Hero Nobody Knows, and Under Night In Birth EXE late parentheses CL-R. Oh fuck, that's a long ass name. Shit. I'm gonna have to go with Street Fighter 5 Champion Edition. Yeah. I mean, let's keep it real. Street Fighter games always get better with later iterations. Okay, like the best version of Street Fighter 2 is Street Fighter 2, um, the new challengers, which basically has all the extra characters, all the bosses, like all the extra stuff. Like the first version of Street Fighter 2 is not the best version. You gotta wait later on. So Street Fighter 5 when it first came out was a steaming pile of shit, but yeah, the later editions was so much better. So, you know, and I mean, like One Punch Man seems like it would be fun, but why would I want to play a game where the main character you play as canonically should be able to just one punch everybody? Like, why would I want to play that game? Yeah, you're playing as someone else, and then One Punch Man comes in and takes care of it. But I don't want to play a game like that. It's like, it's kind of like why I don't want to play a Marvel based video game where the Hulk is weak. Like that doesn't make sense. Um, Next we have the best family game: Animal Crossing: New Horizons, Crash Bandicoot 4: It's About Time, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, Minecraft Dungeons, and Paper Mario: The Origami King. Um, I'm gonna say Animal Crossing because Mario Kart Live has microtransactions, so fuck that game. I'm just saying Mario Kart Live has microtransactions, so fuck that game. Minecraft Dungeons gets surprisingly dark in the third act, so I'm taking that off. Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, yeah, that's a fun family game until your kid knocks your ass off the very end of the area as you're on the home stretch. Yeah, so that they can win and you lose, and then you're like mad at your kid and you want to kick their ass. So that's off. Crash Bandicoot 4 is surprisingly hard, so that's off. And just I have a personal vendetta against Paper Mario: The Origami King, so fuck that game. So I'm going with Animal Crossing: New Horizons. Well, I played it. I don't like it. I played through it. It's got some issues. I You know, I went into it, I tried to be very fair, but now that I've reviewed it and was very fair with my review, I don't like it. I don't like that game. That being said, best sim strategy game. We have Crusader Kings 3. Actually, that is a really good game. And with mods, you can like add fantasy stuff to it. It's fucking great. Desperados 3, also really good. Gears Tactics, also good. Microsoft Flight Simulator. Eh. Yeah. No, I think the re-release of Crysis is the new Crysis. Yeah, but can it run Crysis though? At full specs. XCOM Chimera Squad. I heard that's good. Everything in here I heard was good, so I don't know who's gonna win. But it's all really good. Best sports / racing game: Dirt 5, F1 2020, FIFA 21, fuck that game. NBA 2K21, also fuck that game. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 is a good game. Best multiplayer: Animal Crossing New Horizons, Among Us, Call of Duty Warzone, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, Valorant. I'm gonna go with Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout just because you will like basically the way that people just get into that game and just hate each other while they're playing it. I'm like, God damn. Yeah, a lot of people like Among Us. It got big this year. Yeah. Well, I mean, Among Us is basically like John Carpenter's The Thing, the video game, because it's basically like one person is an alien, but you don't know who it is, and then they go around killing people, and other people who aren't aliens are killing other people because they think they might be an alien. It's fucked up. They have Content Creator of the Year. I don't give a shit about this, so I'm moving forward. Best debut game: Carrion, Mortal Shell, Raji and Ancient Epic, Roki, and Phasmophobia. I heard Mortal Shell was a shit game though. Best esports athlete: don't give a fuck about any of these people. Best esports coach: ditto. Best esports event: don't give a shit. Best esports game: yet again, skipping. Don't give a fuck about any of this shit. Best esports host: okay, that's it. That's everything. The last five categories were nothing but esports shit. So game of the year was Final Fantasy VII R, Last of Us, some other Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Doom Eternal, and Hades, and Animal Crossing New Horizons. And I said if there was justice in the world, it would go to Ghost of Tsushima, but that's just me. Yeah. Because it is really good. Like, I have a friend who has that game, and it is really, really good, so. So here we go. Let's get to some of these other topics and keep it moving. So next, other topic. The first one, Hitman developer IO Interactive has just revealed Project 007. They're making a James Bond video game. And when I saw it, I was like, well, I'll play it if you let me play as Sean Connery. The original James Bond. And I'll be cool with it. What are your guys' thoughts on that? IO Interactive making a James Bond game, and what would you like to see in this game? Well, they did that. That was in from Russia with Love in the 6th gen. It was not that good. I mean, I like the game because I like From Russia with Love, but I don't think you would like it. Well, it's just you'd have to be a fan of that era of James Bond to like it. But that's my own personal opinion. Eh, I mean, look, man, it's what you want. I mean, I personally wouldn't go with it, but it's what you want. All right. Well, I mean, they already said it's going to be an origin story, so. Well, for me, if they go with like OG Sean Connery James Bond, then that means that you're going to have like old school Cold War era James Bond before he became a double O agent. And, I don't want to play as Daniel Craig. Like when they made that remake of GoldenEye with Daniel Craig as James Bond, I was like, no, 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 nah, bruh, nah, I'm not feeling this. But hey, to each his own. Do you have any other things you would like to see in the game, Kenoshi? I'd be down with that. Uh, I mean, like, since this is an origin, I don't know which Bond origin they're going to do. If they're going with old school Bond, before he's a double O agent, I don't think he'd have access to all those fucking gadgets. It's the origin because James Bond originally was a book, and the first James Bond book is Casino Royale, and that's basically. But Casino Royale is like the first time he's a double O agent. This is gonna be tell what happened to him before he was a double O agent. So I don't know what that's gonna be. Like it could have gadgets, but it's probably not gonna be all. If you're expecting Q to pop up and be like 007. See this watch? If you press this button here, a laser comes out of the watch. I don't think you're gonna get that in the origin. Although they might have, like, here's the thing, I don't know. Um, I mean, it really doesn't matter because it's James Bond, and if you're a James Bond fan, you're in for a treat. If you're not a James Bond fan, yeah, you're not gonna really give a shit. Like I said, personally, I hope that they're doing Sean Connery's James Bond, because, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when I think James Bond, I think Sean Connery. Like that's like the quintessential James Bond to me. Followed, he died October 31st. Yeah, he died on Halloween, but he beat Roger Moore. He's like, I beat you, Moore. I'm the best James Bond, motherfucker. But yeah, so like to me, when I think James Bond, like my ideal James Bond is Sean Connery, because the man was just so fucking cool as James Bond. I mean, he had that swagger that you just, the motherfucker could light a cigarette and made the shit look cool. And I mean, Pierce Brosnan was okay. I liked Timothy Dalton's James Bond too, because Timothy Dalton's James Bond would just get in your ass. I mean, he was just mean. Like Timothy Dalton '80s James Bond was just a mean person. Like he killed people in the worst way possible. No, I mean like one of the major villains in one of his films. He literally, like the guy, he's skydiving and the guy's got him. And he basically cuts the guy's parachute so that he'll plummet to his death. And the dude's like, no, 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 ah! Like that type of shit. And another major villain who attacked his best friend Felix Leiter, James Bond douses him in gasoline and lights him on fire. Yeah, Timothy Dalton didn't fuck around. His James Bond was not nice. Okay, he was, that quip shit with Roger Moore, all jokey and shit. Timothy Dalton was not jokey. Like, Timothy Dalton's James Bond, really, in a fight, I would put my money on his version of James Bond fucking up Daniel Craig's James Bond. Because Daniel Craig's James Bond wants to be badass, but he can't do it because he's too fucking short. Timothy Dalton's like, yeah, I'm gonna douse your ass in gasoline and light you on fire. Fuck you. Well, he did it. I mean, the most cold-blooded thing Daniel Craig did in his James Bonds was in Quantum of Solace, where he drops this guy in the middle of the salt flats and gives him a bottle of oil and says, "You're gonna get thirsty, so drink that." But you don't actually see the guy die. They're like, well, they found him dead in the middle of the salt flats with a stomach full of oil. It's like, I mean, you're gonna fucking. You want to show how badass this version of James Bond is? He can't even fucking kill a dude in a badass way. Man, get the fuck out of here with this shit. Like, I think Daniel Craig is one of the most pussified Bonds I've ever seen on the silver screen. Because basically, his version of James Bond just doesn't really want to be James Bond. Like, most of the, almost, except for Casino Royale, every other film after that is just him not wanting to be James Bond. And I'm like, you don't want to be a guy who gets to drive fast cars, fuck faster women, shoot bad guys. Like, no one's going to be like, man, why'd you shoot that Nazi? It's a fucking Nazi. Fuck him. But no, I don't want this job. No, I don't want to, hot women. No, I can't stick my dick in this hot woman. No. I'm James Bond. I can't do that. So no, Daniel Craig is not. I think they should have ended it with Casino Royale. That should have been Daniel Craig's last James Bond role, and then they should have just given it to someone else after that. Because Casino Royale was the perfect way to end it. But no, we had to get Spectre. Ugh, God, that's a terrible movie. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So I guess it's your turn, Jewel. What would you like to see in this next James Bond film? Not the film, the game. Sorry. All right. So I guess it's my turn. I would like to see them, and I know IO Interactive is too small of a studio to do it, but I think it would be cool if they took the route of making like a small kind of hubs instead of so semi-open world, where you had to do missions, and each mission would be its own like small encounter. But then between missions, you could go play baccarat and blackjack and wine and dine women, because that's what James Bond does, and go through training to get access to better gear and better Q gadgets and shit like that. Because it's James Bond. I think that would be cool. And of course, because this is James Bond, while you're doing this, you would have people try and kill your ass because they might think that you're a spy. You might have someone following you, so then you'd know someone was following you because you'd see the cue, but then if they followed you for so long, it'd start playing the James Bond theme. And that's how you know it's like, oh shit, someone's following, I'm being tailed, that type of shit. But they probably won't do that, but it would be cool if they did. So with that being said, we don't know when this game's going to come out. We just know that IO Interactive is working on it. Next, we have my thoughts on the Animaniacs reboot. Here's what I'll say about it. Is it as good as the original? No. Is it as bad as most of the reboots we've seen for old cartoons? Is it as bad as that? No. I would say if the original Animaniacs was a B plus A minus show, this is a C plus B minus show. I would say that the episodes where they try to be really, really topical kind of fall flat, except for there's one joke they do about Donald Trump in in the second episode that's hilarious as hell. But it's just really funny. It's like, because basically how they pull it off and like how they basically like it's just like, if like, okay, if you have Hulu, go watch the second episode of the Animaniacs reboot. It's basically a parody of the Odyssey. It's really funny. There's a joke towards the end of the Odyssey episode about Donald Trump, and it's just fucking hilarious. Okay, and I'm not going to go any further than that. The downsides of the reboot is that they don't bring back any of the old characters, and when they do talk about the old characters, it's kind of as like there's one cartoon that centers around the old characters, but it turns out to be a Chicken Boo cartoon. But that's all I'm gonna say on that. Chicken Boo, you know, he wears a disguise to look like human guys, but he's not a man, he's a Chicken Boo. You know, the old thing where like it would like Chicken Boo's like the Karate Kid, or Chicken Boo's like the chosen one, and there's always some person, I'm telling you, he's a chicken. How dare you say that about Sheriff, the sundown kid? He took down 4 people with 1 bullet. You know, that type of thing. So yeah, it's a Chicken Boo episode. It's actually kind of like like, okay, let me put it this way. This cartoon would be better if they added the old characters, because the new segments that they have, like this one where this little girl, this like 4-year-old girl, gets an alien, like a diminutive alien as her friend, kind of falls flat on its face. It would be better if they brought back the older characters like Slappy Squirrel and the Good Feathers and Mindy and Buttons and the Good Idea, Bad Idea guy. I'm just saying, like, and those 2 hippos who live in the city. I forgot their names, but you get what I'm saying. Because they're pre-established characters that it would be relatively easy to write for, because Yakko Wacko and the Warner sister Dot can't really carry this show by themselves. Pinky the Brain is good, but not what it could be, if you get what I'm saying. But that's my own personal opinion, and I could be wrong. Next, what do you guys have any questions for me before we move on to the 4th topic about Animaniacs? All right, next we go to, are there any new games you're looking forward to coming out this holiday season? All right. Kenoshi? All right. Same here. I pre-ordered mine, so I'm just waiting for it to get delivered. So that's that's Cyberpunk. That's the big game I'm looking forward to this year. This year, not look did not look for Hyrule Warriors 2. Because I'm not wild about Breath of the Wild, and I don't really like Musou games. So combining those 2 things together is not gonna make a game that I want to play. Yeah, it's like I don't like cherry flavoring, and I don't like fruit flavorings in my ice cream. So cherry flavored ice cream, no, not going for it. Next, we finally get to our nominations for the Asshole Publisher of the Year. So basically, we're not gonna give the award to our asshole publisher of the year. We're only nominating. So who wants to go first with who they want to throw into the asshole publisher of the year category? You could be right. I'm not saying you are right. I said you could be right. You know, rape contents and horrific working conditions. Yeah, I can't really. I can't say. I mean, those are two excellent nominees. Um, Jewel, do you have any nominees you want to throw into the ring of asshole of asshole publisher of the year? Why? All right. I, you know, you already said one of mine, Kenoshi, which was Ubisoft. So, I mean, I'm going to go with EA and Activision because both of them have microtransaction loot boxes, but EA, like, Activision took it a step further, okay? Because EA has gambling mechanics in their games, but, and their games are mostly marketed towards kids, and that's bad, but Activision took it a step further because Activision not only does it have loot boxes, but they developed an algorithm, a matchmaking algorithm that basically, if you're a gamer who's just grinding through to win instead of using money to buy loot boxes, they will pair you up with people that have used loot boxes to be OP so that you will get your ass kicked by people who use loot boxes, therefore encouraging people who are just grinding through the game, playing it naturally, to spend money instead of grinding through to win, to play the game and win naturally by pairing them against people who basically use pay to win mechanics. And that is particularly douchebaggery and assholeish. So while EA, marketing to little kids, gambling mechanics, people who already have those proclivities are being exposed to it early as children when their minds are still being formed. That's bad. No doubt about it. I would say that EA a little bit worse. So with that being said, those are our nominees for asshole publishers. Now, these are just video game publishers. Or if they are not just publishers, we're looking at the publishing aspect of it. So Sony, Ubisoft, Bethesda, Activision, and EA. These are our nominees for asshole publishers of the year. Next week, we will do developer. So there you go. That's the end of that's the end of our topics. Anything you guys want to bring up, mention? Any free topics you guys want to come up with? Well, well, I have a free topic that just came up. Mass Effect is coming back, as we reported earlier. So, where do you guys think they should go with the next game? Well, all the Mass Effect games are story based, so that's not really different. Well, I mean, the problem with Andromeda wasn't so much the storyline; it was that they basically, instead of doing something new, they just basically repurposed the Reapers. Because basically, that's what the primary villains were in the game. They were basically kidnapping they were kidnapping people and turning them into more of themselves. So it was basically the Reapers all over again, but kind of shitty. But I mean, it was a lot of issues. If I had my druthers and I was head of the design, the head lead writer, executive, the lead director of the game, I would basically set Mass Effect, the next Mass Effect game. I would set it like 150 years after the events of Mass Effect 3. And I would go with the ending where you basically destroy the mass relays. Um, so basically, 150 years and all these different species have finally created, like, let's say it starts on Earth, and you have aliens who had to live on Earth because there's no more mass relays. So if you want to go someplace, you have to use like long ways travel. So most aliens aren't going to do that. So they're just stuck where they are. But it's been 150 years, and people have finally figured out how to go, have created their own FTL that isn't reliant on, outside technology. And so the game would be, exploration done right, where you know, a diverse crew of characters. Maybe have a Mass Effect where you don't play as a human being as the main character for once. That'd be cool. And basically, you go around reestablishing bonds with these different alien species from Mass Effect 3. But it's like 150 years. You see how they change. So, like, you go to the Krogan homeworld, and you discover they finally figured out how to stop fucking like rabbits and control their population so that they don't run out of resources, because they had no choice. It was either that or die. It's like, you go to the Quarian home planet and you'd find out they finally learned to do right and work with the Geth. Basically, you get to see what Commander Shepard and his crew were working on for all three of those games. You see the after effects of all those choices. Of course, you have to have some type of antagonist. So here's your antagonist. While the Reapers were defeated and the Mass Effect relays were destroyed, there's a group of shady ass organization that's using remnant technology that was left behind by the Reapers. Doesn't work, but they've integrated that technology in new and interesting and really fucked up ways to create weapons that they're selling to different people to destabilize regions of space, so that they can come in and take over. So there you go. You have an antagonist, you have a protagonist. You're not going back to Andromeda because that game was just a really bad idea. It was a series of bad ideas. Had that game had another year in the oven, it probably could have been good, but it was shit out way too early and it wasn't ready. It was partially digested. Pun intended. But yeah, I am a Mass Effect fan, so I've played a lot of those games. All of them, as a matter of fact. But yeah, that's what I would do. Either that or just, do a prequel. Because, if for those of us who've played Mass Effect, you do know that the first time humanity met the Turians, there was this massive war where humanity was almost wiped the fuck out, right? So you could do a game about that with just humanity getting their ass kicked by the Turians. It could work. So with that being said, we have reached the end of the cast. Anything you guys want to bring up before we wrap things up? All right. So, Kenoshi, anything you want to bring up before we wrap things up? No. What about the Smash stuff? Okay. I mean, I mean, how can I put this? Um, Melee is an old ass game. And I mean, here's what I'm gonna say. Legally, Nintendo is right. People shouldn't be able to make money off of Melee, after the fact. But I mean, like, really, at this point, I mean, I think Nintendo made all the money they're ever gonna make off of Melee in terms of sales of Melee. Like back in the day, like, I mean, at this point, it's just them protecting their brand. That's all it really is. It has nothing to do with what's right. Because I mean, because Nintendo does the same thing with games that you aren't streaming. They're like, well, if you mod this game, and I mean, I don't know what it is about Japanese developers, because this isn't just a Nintendo thing. Because remember the guy who worked on Final Fantasy 15? He was like, if someone mods naked people into my game, I'm gonna be mad. I'm like, fuck you. like, I mean, like, here's the thing, okay? Someone bought your game, they paid for your fucking extensive and expensive season passes and extra content. So if they want to take that game and mod it and shove it up their ass, they paid for it. You got your money. What? You got your money. But I mean, like I said, legally they have to protect their brand, but I mean, like, you know, it's bullshit both ways. Is what I'm saying. It's bullshit. It's bullshit from the gamers because really, Melee isn't even that good of a Smash Brothers game. Okay, it isn't. All right. It's bullshit from Nintendo's end because, like I said, they've gotten all the money they're ever gonna get off of Melee. Yeah, yeah, they're protecting their brand, but here's the thing, okay? If Nintendo didn't have their head up their ass, if Nintendo said, "Hey, I tell you what, you guys want to play a modded Melee? Re-release Melee, and include a mod kit so people can add shit to it, and then you guys could monetize it yourselves, or you could say, hey, you got to do this, and you could make money off of that shit." That would be the smart move. But Nintendo's like, no, we're busy working on the no games we're coming out with right now. Sorry, not no games. The family friendly, sells 30 million units. 30 million pieces of software, which, look, they're a business. That's what you got to do to make money. I'm not going to knock that. But it's kind of like an asshole thing to do. Not enough to be put on the list, but it's just kind of like, I mean, But I mean, here's the thing: if they're going after people for uploading video of them playing modded Melee, then why aren't they going after people who do videos of modded Mario games? Because people do that. There are people who make modded Legend of Zelda shit and upload that. So it sets a dirty precedent, is what I'm saying. Like, why do they give a unless this is a hint that Nintendo, kind of like how they fought those DMCA's about that Metroid 2 remake. And then they came up with their version of Metroid 2, which was worse than the Metroid 2 remake. I mean, I don't know. Well, I mean, the 3DS Metroid 2 remake was put way too much fucking Metroid Prime into Metroid 2 when they're two completely different games. Um, exactly, exactly. So I mean, look, listen. Maybe Nintendo is coming out with a new version of Melee. Maybe they're bringing it to the Virtual Console. Look, listen. I'm just the Japanese version of Melee. I mean, like I said, I really like. It's a dick move on both ends of the spectrum. It's a it's a dick move from the players because, like I said, they are trying to make money off of someone else's work. It's a dick move on Nintendo because, I mean, haven't they made all the money they're ever going to make off of Melee already? Yeah, and and that's why I said they have to do it because they're protecting their IP. It's you know Yeah, so I mean, like I said, it's a dick move on both sides, but I'm gonna have to side with Nintendo that they're in the right, even though like I really don't give a fuck about either way. Well, I mean, like I said, I don't really like. Look, I'm with you. I don't like Melee. I think that it's like okay, in terms of gameplay mechanics, it's better than 64. It's faster. It's smoother. The fighting is more fun than 64. 64 feels like a gimmick. Melee actually felt like a real game. That with that being said, 64 felt like a low level party game, which is what it was. Okay, now Smash Brothers Melee felt like a proper, like real, like game. But the thing is this. I don't like how people who are ultra into Melee want everyone else to be ultra into Melee, and that the only way you can play Smash Brothers is like you're playing Melee. I don't like that. But Melee itself, I don't think is a bad game. I just think the people who are diehard fans of it and like no one else can enjoy Smash Brothers. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, Melee is not a bad game. It's the people who are diehard about it are the ones who made it, you know. Well, that's the thing. If you like Brawl, the Melee people are like, well, how you like that slow ass game? Fuck you. Auto tripping. Fuck you. If you don't like if you like Brawl, the Melee people are like, fuck you. Why would you play it like Brawl? Why don't you play Project M, which is basically like it basically mods Melee into Brawl. I've actually played Project M. It's actually pretty fun. Then you play then you I mean if you like the one on the Wii U, if you play the Wii U game, now personally, I think the Wii U Smash Brothers has some of the best gameplay mechanics ever. The problem is that everything else suffers in that game. The single player is trash. Actually, it's not trash, it's ass. It's hot buttered ass too, where you're sweating and it goes down the crack of your into your crack. Yeah, it it doesn't it doesn't need work. It's ass. No, no. Let me put it this way: it doesn't need work. Okay, I'll tell you a single player that needed work. Okay, Melee's adventure mode needed work. It was a good idea. It just needed to be fleshed out. Wii U single player is fucking ass. Okay, it doesn't need work. It needs to be erased off the board. No. Smash Tour was bad, but the single player what they called the fucking single player in Wii U was just, oh god. I mean, like, basically, yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, like, here's the way I feel about it, okay? That's like, you know what that's like? That's like your parents have four kids, and they're saying, okay, we're gonna go and get some ice cream, and then one motherfucker won't shut the fuck up and does something, and so everybody gets punished because of one person. That's basically the equivalent. It's not fair, okay? But that's okay because I gave away my Wii U copy and my 3DS copy of those games, and I gave away my Smash Brothers for the Switch. I was like, I'm not. Fuck this game. Look, if you're not going to put effort into the shit that I enjoyed about Smash Brothers, then I'm not going to play your games. And I didn't. Like, I'm done. I'm okay. I gave. Well, that's the thing. It's like the overall aspects were good. Like I said, the gameplay has gotten better with each iteration. The physics engine has gotten better with each iteration. The fighter selection has got better. They have a fighter for every single play style. But I mean, I have never seen a game where one category dipped so far into the negative zone until Smash Brothers. I mean, it's, oh man, that's single player. Oh Jesus, so bad. It's so bad. Well, I would take it even further. It's a platform game with fighting game mechanics, a party game second, a fighting game third. Because if you're playing Smash Brothers like a hardcore fighting game, you're doing it wrong. Because it's not. If you want to play a hardcore fighting game, go play Guilty Gear. Go play Street Fighter. Those are hardcore fighting games. Go play Mortal Kombat. Even though I don't really like Mortal Kombat, that's a hardcore fighting game. Smash Brothers is not like that. And if you're playing it like that, you like, why would you want to play something that should be fun competitively? I don't get that, but whatever. Um, to each his own. Que sera sera. What will be will be. But with that being said, that was a good topic you brought up. That ate up a lot of time, Kanoshi. So, anything else anyone else wants to bring up until we wrap things up? Anything anyone wants to pimp out? Um, show off? Rant about? Nothing? Okay, then. That's the end of the podcast. Rate. Yes, in order to get in touch with the channel, you can reach me at mrredfoxbsbuster at gmail.com or at Matthew Wesley at mrredfox91 on Twitter, or there's a link to the Discord in the description. With that being said, this is the end of the podcast. Rate, count,